Hi everyone, welcome to another Assassin's Creed Valhalla video. In this video we are going to be going over what you should know if you're a beginner for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That being said, if you're not a beginner, this might still be some new information for you, so keep watching and let's get into it. Before we get into it though, I just wanted to mention a few things. 95% of the people that are watching my videos are not subscribed, so if you're one of those people, please do subscribe. It will help me out a lot, and I would greatly appreciate it. It could be your Christmas present to me or a New Year's gift. And depending on when you're watching this video, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Hoping for a better 2021. And with that, let's get into it. I was planning on starting this video by getting right into my tips and tricks and my suggestions for what you should do. But before I get into those, I did think about something else and it came to my mind near the end of preparing for this video. Before you even start playing, you'll get a choice in Assassin's Creed Valhalla where you'll either get to play as male Eivor or female Eivor. And in this game, you'll get a third option. For those of you that have played Odyssey, you know that you have a choice between Alexios and Cassandra. But in AC Valhalla, you have a choice between male Eivor and female Eivor. And there's actually a third choice, as I just mentioned, which is considered the default, quote unquote, choice. And that choice lets you not decide what gender you're going to be playing as, and the game decides for you. So with this, when I first got Valhalla, I did tweet out to Darby McDevitt, and I asked whether or not it would make a difference and what he would recommend as the choice to play as. And he, without hesitation, said to pick the default choice and let the Animus decide. And he's the narrative director for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So he suggested that you let the Animus decide, so that's what I did. And I can say with certainty and with confidence that I'm not disappointed. I'm enjoying female Eivor a lot. She's really good. And it's not like you don't get to play as male Eivor in the game. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to say how you get to play as him if you pick the default choice, but you do get to play as male Eivor. Uh, I guess you could call him male Eivor, but anyways, you get to play as him. And if you still prefer to play exclusively as a male or female Eivor, honestly, 100 hours in, I can with confidence tell you that it hasn't made a difference to the game. If I was just playing as a male Eivor, I wouldn't have noticed anything out of the ordinary. If I was playing exclusively as female Eivor, I wouldn't have noticed anything out of the ordinary. So you can decide what gender you want to be. I generally like to play as my gender, which is male, in games. And that's why in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I picked Alexios over Cassandra, even though everyone said Cassandra's voice acting was better. I honestly enjoyed the game regardless, and I thought Alexios did a pretty good job as well. And I know that's not the general consensus. So that being said, I would say pick what you want, but when the narrative director says to pick the default option, I think it's pretty self-explanatory and pretty important to I think go that route because there might be something in the end game that is directly related to that choice. I haven't gotten to the end game, but I'm guessing there's something there that's related to that choice, and I wanted to experience the story in full and experience it the way it's meant to be experienced. With that point covered, let's get into the other aspects of what I think and my opinion on what beginners should be doing with respect to the game. So first off, do the main story missions. Doing these will make you explore the map and you will go to areas that you might have explored and found on your own already. So if you don't do the story missions and you just go around exploring, it's likely that you will come back to those points on the story or during the story arc. So I recommend following the story arc because you will uncover all of England doing this and you will experience everything anew rather than exploring on your own, then doing the story arc, and then finding those same things over and over again, which kind of takes the magic out of it. So I highly recommend following the arcs. And the story arc isn't short by any means. And it's the perfect starting point for an Assassin's Creed Valhalla experience. And for those of you that are hardcore Assassin's Creed fans and didn't like any of the most recent games like Odyssey, uh, this I think is a game where you want to follow the arc, and it will reward you for that, and it'll remind you that this is in fact an Assassin's Creed game. And you'll level up very quickly during the story missions versus just exploring on your own and doing side quests and missions. So it's in your best interest to follow the story arc because that way you will level up faster, you will get through the game faster, and you'll experience it as it's meant to be experienced as a linear arc and with some side quests here and there, which are also very interesting. I'm not downplaying them by any means, but I think playing the story arc is very important in this game. Next up, figure out what you want your playstyle to be. This is one of the few Assassin's Creed games where you can decide what you want to build as. Do you want to go ham and run in shields, swords, axes, knives blazing? Well, not knives, but short blades, I guess you could call them. Or do you want to be more stealthy and assassiny? I don't even know if that's a word, but if you want to be assassiny, you can be assassiny in this game. Or do you prefer to kill everything from far away? You can even go a pure hunter build and just snipe people from 20, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 meters away and just kill them nonstop. You can do it all. That's the good news about the game. You have a lot of versatility in this. So ideally what you want to spend your first few hours doing is figuring out what your playstyle is. And if you already know, that's perfect. You can just go down one path and pick that playstyle and enjoy the game in that way. Depending on your playstyle, you'll want to unlock certain armor sets though. And in one of my streams, I discussed my playstyle and was immediately advised to get the mentor set. This set is for a stealthy and essentially deadly approach. So I listened, and I cannot recommend this build enough. I'll be making a video on this in the future, and I wield two quote unquote knives with my mentor set and have unlocked some choice skills that we will get into, and these are must have skills. We'll get into these next. What are the must have skills? As a beginner in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you're going to be overwhelmed with the skill tree in the sense that you'll see that it's massive. However, you should be comfortable in knowing that it'll get opened up for you as you progress through the game. And as you progress through the game, you'll get to understand the mechanics a little bit better, and you'll understand what skills you want to unlock and what paths you want to go down. So, what are these must have skills? In the previous section, I did mention these, and I did mention you can build any way you want. But these three skills that I've narrowed it down to, I think, are extremely important. And I think you should get these prior to choosing one path or one style of play. And I think it's very important to get these skills prior to going down your single path because they will make your life a lot easier in the game. So, what are these three skills? Well, before we get into these three skills, I just want to mention that there are three paths in the game. So, you have three paths. You have the bear. Think of heavy weapons, heavy armor, just destroying people with a lot of stun and just breaking them apart. Then you got the Raven. You can think stealth, you can think assassin, you can think lots of critical damage, things like that. And then you got Wolf, which is you can just think hunter. You want to use bows, you want to kill people from far away. And there are so many great skills to unlock in Valhalla in each of these paths. But there are three main skills that you should definitely get before you move forward down your own path and decide what you want to do. And these three are Brush with Death, Heavy Dual Wield, and Grit. You will need to be level 58 or power level 58 in order to have all three of these unlocked. And that's why I think it's important to get all three of these right away because they will make your life, as I mentioned before, very easy versus having a very difficult time in the game. And trust me, depending on the difficulty you play, these skills are a godsend. If you're playing on easy, not so much, but if you're playing on any other difficulty, I think these are must-haves. So, as I mentioned, you'll need to be level 58 to have all three, and I would recommend going in this order. So first, you will want to get Grit. So Grit is a skill that you will want to get, and it's in the wolf path. So that's the first side you'll want to go down and get to it. It takes 24 levels or 24 power levels to get it. Then I would move on to Brush with Death, which is on the Raven skill tree, and it takes 18 points to get to, or 18 power levels. So you'll be level 42 when you get that skill. And then finally, the reason you go down the Raven path prior to getting the heavy dual wield is because then you can get it quicker. Once you've got the Brush with Death, you can move into the Bear path from the Raven side, and by the time you're level 58 or 16 power levels above where you were when you got Brush with Death, you can get the heavy dual wield. With these three skills, you can essentially fight anyone in the game and win. If you've got the skills, you can definitely kill anyone using these three skills. There are some others that you'll unlock along the way, which I'm not going to spoil for you, and you'll see them on the skill path as you go through, or the skill tree, and you can reskill anytime. So if you don't want to go down this route and you find that there's some other skill that you need, you can always get these later, but these three are must-haves. Regardless of what build you're going, these three are must-haves. So this next section is going to be kind of a two-parter. Basically, you want to explore every area as much as you can once you get there, so you don't have to keep coming back to that area. I haven't done this myself for a lot of areas, and that's why I'm suggesting you do this, because I honestly regret it almost every time I need to go back to get something that I missed because I was in a rush. The prime example of this is me having to retrace my steps to the Thieves' Lookout, which you'll find later in the game, because I missed an order member clue. Don't be like Achilles. Loot everything. Literally everything you see, loot it. As soon as you get into an area, just look around. If you see it, loot it, and then get out. How will you know that the area has been looted? Well, it's very easy to tell. You just go onto your map and you'll see a little X show up on any given area to show that you've already completed it fully and there's nothing else left there for you to get. And if there is something left for you to get, it will show there. So, for example, you can see an X and you see a gold icon, then you know there's a chest there that you haven't gotten yet, but you looted everything else. And while you're in these areas as well, make sure you get all of the viewpoints in any given area. Or if you don't want to heed my advice and you want to go out there on your own and explore all of England or all of Norway and just do that before doing the story, take a day. Take a day and explore all of these areas or wherever else you want to go and grab all the viewpoints. Doing this on any given day where you don't want to play the main story and you just want to, you know, explore, relax, not do much is a good idea because it will help you when you do go back to the main story because you'll be able to quickly jump around different areas by getting to those areas faster. And it'll also help when you want to go back to certain areas in case you don't heed my advice and don't loot everything. So it's definitely a good idea to get all of the viewpoints in any given area or even get them prior to continuing your storyline because that way you can jump around easier and it allows you to basically explore faster and move around faster. And it'll be an efficiency thing. So you'll have to give up some time in order to make up time in another playthrough. Now let's move on to what setting I think you should play at. So a lot of people think that playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on easy or normal is a better experience because then they don't have to worry about the combat. They can just focus on the story and everything. I disagree with this. I think it's very important to play a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla or even any other Assassin's Creed game on very hard to start off with, or any game for that matter. Any RPG, I think you should play on very hard initially, and I'll get into the reason why. The reason I suggest doing this is because then you develop the mechanics that you need to complete the game with ease. So even if you spend the first 5 to 10 hours in Assassin's Creed Valhalla playing on very hard, and keep in mind you can change this setting anytime. You don't have to worry about, leaving your game and having to start a new game or anything like that. You can change the setting literally anytime and it'll just simply reload that area for you. And the reason I suggest this is, like I mentioned, you've developed the mechanics that you need to succeed. So playing on very hard and then switching to normal or easy or even hard after 10 hours of playing on very hard, the game's going to be a joke for you. You'll be able to kill any enemy, any boss, no issues, no questions. So that's why I recommend just investing that initial 5 to 10 hours or making that initial bit harder for yourself. And that way the game will be that much easier as you progress through it. And zealots, order members, big boss fights, big raids, big fortress attacks, everything will be easy for you. And let's move on. So next up, your settlement. Definitely upgrade your settlement early and often. Anytime you have enough supplies, anytime you have enough materials, upgrade your not fortress settlement, upgrade it, and make sure you do get the Hidden Ones Bureau first. This is the first building that you should build once you get your settlement. I'm not going to tell you when you get your settlement because I know you're all new to the game and I don't want to spoil anything, but definitely get the Hidden Ones Bureau first. It is a building that you can purchase in the settlement. Get that first, and you will have much more fun in the game. If you wait too long to get that, you're going to miss out on a lot of things that you otherwise would be experiencing right from the get go. So that should be the first building you get. Next up, you should get your stables. So first the Hidden Ones Bureau, then the stables. And the reason you want to get your stables is because in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can do something with your mounts that you can't do in any other Assassin's Creed game. That's upgrade them. I'm not going to tell you what you can upgrade, but it's definitely worth your time to get the stables as soon as possible. So, Hidden Ones Bureau, then stables, and then you can focus on the other buildings and you'll find out what they are. I'm not going to give anything else away because I want you to experience it for yourself like I did. And lastly, enjoy it. Take your time with this one. You'll get to max level without much effort if you're playing the main story arcs. You will need to grind for armor sets, but even with those, you will get most of them while doing the main arc. Valhalla is a beautiful game, even though there is some grind, which can be alleviated with some tips and tricks videos that I've got on my channel, along with some glitches and some glitch videos that I've got. Take your time. Just enjoy the story, enjoy the experience, and honestly, it's one of the best Assassin's Creed games that I've played to date. One of the best, I should say. AC2 is always going to have a special place in my heart, along with Revelations. So, once again, enjoy it. And with that, I'm going to sign off. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys learned something. I hope this makes your playthrough of Assassin's Creed more enjoyable. And I hope I didn't give too much away to ruin any experience that you might be having with the game. And don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment in the comment section below if you have any questions, as I'm always happy to answer those. And with that, enjoy your journey, and I will see you all next time.